Welcome back. The next thing we want to do in this video is spend a little bit of time looking through some basic functions. There's some more advanced functions you can do with transactions, but just some basic functions. So first of all, once you're logged in, you go to transactions and go to transactions here. And the first couple of things I wanted to show is, first of all, combining transactions. So I could select a couple of these transactions or all of them really, and go to actions and click combine, and you'll see what it'll do. It will combine those two transactions. You see this little icon showing you that it's now combined, and you can see the two transactions on one line. The next thing you can do is really uncombine them back. So I'm going to uncombine, and they're going to separate back out. Another thing that you can do is to ignore transactions. Now, you want to have a really good reason why you're doing it and some explanations for your auditors. As you can see, the filter right now is on unignored, so it's showing everything that's unignored. If I select, let's say, these three transactions and I say ignore, it should move them out of this view. And when I filter to the ignored view, I should see those three transactions. And again, of course, I can unignore. So I'm going to do that, unignore. And it'll pop out of this view, and I'll go back to the unignored, and they'll show up there. The other thing that I can do is actually create a transaction. And there's a number of use cases for this. Again, you want to have a good reason while you're doing it. You select the wallet you want to create it under. You select the date. You select the time, you select the type, whether it's an inflow or an outflow. You put the amount, you put the coin type, you can put the from address and to address as well, and hit save, and it will create that transaction for that date and that time. I'll filter by the specific wallet under which I created it, and you can see that's my transaction that I created right there, right? I can also go ahead and delete that transaction. So I click delete, and that will delete that transaction. Now, something to note is in a manual wallet, you're able to delete transactions quite all right. But when it's a wallet where we're syncing the data, it can delete it, but that's temporary because the way our syncers work is it keeps checking to see if we've missed any transactions. And when something is deleted, it will reappear again. The way, if there's a reason why you don't want to deal with something from an accounting perspective, the ignore transaction is the capability to use, not the delete transaction. There's one more feature here that we can cover a little bit later, which is mark as reconciled. Now, a key warning on this feature, this does not sync the transaction to your ERP. So this is specifically for the capability of a situation where something needs to be marked as reconciled but not synced. Again, as with all of these functions, ignore, create, delete, mark as reconciled but not push, you want to have a really good reason you're doing it. You want to have documentation that supports why you're doing that, for the purposes of your audits or for management's understanding. So you always want to have the process documentation that supports that. So we've covered those core basic capabilities. There are more advanced ones which we'll get to as we go beyond onboarding, but those are some of the key ones to focus on.